is Winifred Akabueze, and I'm the head makeup artist of Flawless Faces by Winnie, and I'm from Anambra State.
My name is Idusiye Emmanuel Olubolaji.
And I'm his beautiful wife, Mrs. Abiola Loretta Olubolaji.
I'm Saka Yemi Ajala. I'm a member of Rema Chapel, Tanka Ilori. In the church, I work as a marriage counselor. I'm involved in preparing young people for marriage and in managing marital conflicts.
Love. I feel love is a deep affection or intense feeling of deep affection. Yes, that's how I'll put it. Okay, as a makeup artist, first of all, you go out and you're like, good morning, man. You're like, oh, beautiful, how you doing? Are you married? Oh, how are your kids? And I'm like, ma, I'm not married, ma. And they're like, oh, don't worry, God will do it for you. And family. So imagine when you get home and they're like, oh, Zoma, look at you. Look at how you look. When is that bobo coming? And you're like, Auntie, God will do it too. So basically, societal pressure on single people, I'll say it's a lot. But I mean, it just takes intelligence to handle it. I mean, it's not a disease to be single. Neither is it a bad thing to be single. I feel people who are single for too long, that's if there's even anything like being single for too long. I feel we just want to get it right. We don't want to rush into it and just end up with someone we can't live with for the rest of our life. So being single is not a stigma. It's just a phase that would come and go.
I met Biola firstly. That was in church. Should be 2006 to be precise.
Children's camp.
Yeah, children's camp. From there, we became friends, and we were friends for a very, very long time. We got to know each other better until when, butterflies started to. Basically, God gave the go-ahead for us to proceed, to get closer to each other beyond just being friends. And we thank God for where we are today.
It wasn't that easy. I mean, I was still very young. A relationship was not even a thing for me. But I remember I was not so friendly towards him though, like for some reason, because I was still very young. I was in secondary school. Thinking of a boy was not the next thing on my agenda. I remember that I gave him tough time at the children's camp. Well, somehow, I felt bad doing that while we were leaving, He tried so many things just to, talk to me, and somehow I felt bad, and I just thought that he was a cool person. But after so many years, I had this peace, and I just felt that it was time to give it a shot. Not to sound too spiritual, like everything about, there was this peace I felt. It's like the first guy that I felt a different kind of peace, like, okay, I want to do this with him, I want to do the life thing with him. And that was like, I was convinced. And well, basically that's how we met, when we were just kids.
Preparation for marriage cut across so many areas. For effective preparation, it has to cover physical. You have to learn how to prepare physically for marriage. Prepare your look, your body for marriage. You prepare financially in terms of what you can do, the vocation that you have, how to generate money, how to manage money, how to survive in terms of scarcity and needs. Then you prepare emotionally, mentally, because it's a journey, and it's a journey into the unknown. You have to be ready mentally for challenges that will come, and you have to be ready emotionally to be able to toughen it out when it becomes raw. And when there is a period of enjoyment, you have to learn how to manage your emotion so that you don't get carried away. And you have to prepare spiritually. You have to know the principles you want to work with in your marriage. Principle of God as a Christian as laid down in the Holy Scripture. And you have to locate them and then discuss it with your partner. how you want to work with those principles. And if you are a Muslim, I believe there are cogent principles in the Holy Book that Muslims use that you can look into and then adopt. So one has to prepare in all this area if you want a successful marriage.
That's a
That should
year.
be a year and 4 months to
Yeah.
be precise. 16 months. First of all, I am this person who my personality majorly is how will I put it, is solitude. I'm more of a very solo kind of person, and the first 6 months for me was practically my wife is a great person, quite alright, but living with a total stranger entirely, even my own female siblings, we usually have our good sides, and then once in a while we argue, we fight, and how much more someone I didn't even grow up with at all. It was sometimes, most of the time it was good. Another time I will ask myself, like, man, did you really do this? Like, you practically carried someone else's daughter and you brought her into your space, that little space that you've been managing for so many years. I don't know, you have to really be strong. Like, people say marriage is like a very beautiful thing. People talk about it, but the first 6 months was a different chapter for me entirely, because a lot of things had to change. My outings had to be adjusted. I was somebody who would go out before without even telling anybody that this is where I'm going. I could go out, regulate my own hours myself. I'm somebody who I used to love to keep late nights. I prefer to go out in the evenings. Daytime, I just hibernate, work. But when she came in, it was all about, no, you can't go out. You have to stay in the house with me, because how do you expect me? Okay, no problem. Why not come along with me? She said. She's like, no, I don't go out often.
I wasn't clingy. I didn't stop you from having
Not
fun.
clingy, quite alright, but not clingy, quite alright, but it had to be adjusted.
Sure.
And I had to start telling friends like, sorry, I can't come out.
You're a married man.
Okay, we go out, we spend 1 hour, and I am unconsciously looking at the time, even without being called. And I will tell myself that, wow, like, bro, you have added a lot of work to your life, but sure, the Lord is your strength. But after 6 months, I started coming out of it, trying to understand her. Then women, I'm sorry to say, you can be very cranky sometimes. You go to bed with all smiles, and then you wake up in the morning and good morning, and you don't get a response back, and you're like, what's up? And the next thing is like, did I tell you something is wrong with me? And I'm like, wow, okay. Yeah,
Okay.
normal stuff. And I had to like attune myself to the mood and know how they swing, if it's swinging in the right direction, or when I'm supposed to keep quiet, when I'm supposed to ask you what is wrong with you. Because I feel like sometimes women don't like hearing that question, like, are you fine? They just want to be all by themselves. And fun. 6 months, really, it was a different chapter, like a different episode for me, but I think I got a hang of it, and I got to understand her better. She's my friend, my perfect friend for life, so I don't think there is nothing that should catch me unawares anymore. We've been good, and really, it's been a fun experience though. It's been a fun experience.
For me, in a nutshell, it felt like I was in a different world. Like, how did I get here? Because I've lived with my parents all my life. Like, if I remember when I had to go to school, I cried on the first day. That was the first time I had to leave home. And this time I had to even leave my family behind and follow a total stranger in quotes. It was really a tough one for me. Like, I wake up every day, I'm like, really, this is marriage. Like, it's beautiful, honestly, but yeah, it was such a good partner because he helped me to grow through this stage of our marriage, because honestly he gave me I had my space. He respected my privacy, because honestly I'm not a chronic mood swing person, but the thing is, it has always been my thing, but I just knew I have to be intentional now because I'm a married person. I can't afford to wake up all cranky, and because this is no longer about me. It's about me and my partner, someone I I promised to do this with it. I had to be intentional about this if I really wanted to work, because marriage is not a one-sided thing. I've always known this, but yeah, I know it was not going to be easy in the front, but with my husband by my side, it made it a lot easier than I thought. Because man, when you know, I'm a social media person, you know, when you go online, you see different things, and you're like, is this what marriage is all about? But for me, honestly, the first 6 months was a different experience for me. Like, it was really good. It was good.
That phrase, men are scum, is valid. You know why? Okay, I'll give you just one experience. So I had this friend back in school, uni actually, and we're just friends, just, hi, how you doing? Hey, guy, what's up? And he travels out. The next thing, oh, Winifred, I have feelings for you, blah, 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 blah. The next thing he asked me, okay, I was like, guy, I know they see your face. Because, I mean, no chemistry, nothing. And he says, what do you think about pregnancy before marriage? And I'm like, guy, I don't think about it at all. It's not even an option. Like, why would you even suggest pregnancy before marriage? I feel that people that do that they just want, you know how they say, want to test the machine to see if the machine is working before we know if we can buy it. It doesn't make any sense. But you see all these boys, I'm going to use the word boys, they are just, they are just immature when it comes to the relationship. And I feel, if I'm speaking in the mind of a lot of single ladies, we want mature minds. We want people who can hold sensible conversations, who can, think right. We women, we want more, or we single ladies, we don't want, how you doing? Have you eaten today? If you have not eaten, if you're not eating, I'll be angry. Please be angry. That's not what I want to hear. I beg. Talk about other sensible things. Every time people are saying, what do women bring to the table? You men, what are people bringing to the table? Aside money and have you eaten today? Please, we should do better. I have a lot of experiences, but please, let's just leave it there. Men should do better, please. Yes, I have one other experience. I met a guy and we got talking. So he introduced himself. He said he's a prince. Good for you. I really don't care about you being a prince. Then we got talking. Then I noticed that every time we have a conversation, the conversation is always about him, how he did this, how after school he got a job, how this. And I'll just sit down there. And for like 30 minutes, I'm just looking at him. Okay, are we done? Then he would just ask me one question. And even before I answered the question, back to him again. Like, guy, how? You see, in that talking stage of a relationship, guys, what's happen? We need to do better. Not every time. He was making the conversation about him. He was making everything about it. And you know what? The funny thing, he told me, he said he doesn't ask a girl out for too long. That give or take 2 months, at least. What are we talking about? After 2 months, please answer me. And I'm like, hey, in my mind, you don't know me. 6 months trial, you are going to be there. We are going to be talking. I'm going to bring in different questions. And after 2 months, so was it even up to 2 months? I think after a month, I wasn't giving him the green light. And we moved on because he's not my spec. A guy that will call a lady and not even ask her, okay, what are your plans? What do you want to do? Where do you see yourself in 5 years? Questions like that don't even come up. Only, oh, this, when I was young, when I was this, oh, girls used to roll after me, this, I plan to do this for myself. Guy, kilo day. Life is not that hard. I beg, guys should do better. We single ladies, we want more. We don't want less, yeah.
On the 1st of January 2022, yes, I was just all about the new year, planning the whole, how I was going to cook for the family, do things like I was just going about my day, not knowing that my husband now had a different plan entirely. I didn't even suspect anything, but somehow, at the end of the day, I found out that I had met my dad taking permission to ask me out. Met with my mom, and everybody was, at the end of the day, I felt like really like. So I've been the only one in the dark because obviously everybody knew what was going to happen at the end of the day, and he just asked that we go out on a date. I didn't get to wear my best outfit, but yeah, getting to the venue, I saw his family and I didn't even suspect anything, but somehow I just noticed everybody was giving this sign and I was lost. The next thing I saw someone on his knee. Like, what's going on? And this one I've always communicated to that I want it so simple, like if possible in the bedroom. But somehow, so I didn't have any reason to suspect he was going to propose to me as at then, because I've always given him an idea of what I wanted. But yeah, it wasn't so loud, but I didn't know it was ever going to be an outdoor thing. So yes, it was a big yes for me because I was very convinced that I was ready to go on this journey with him.
First of all, Abiola gave me a very tough time. I won't lie. I mean, many years passed, and it seems like every year that came, it was getting more difficult to reach out to her. We will be friends today. Tomorrow, I will get upset, and I will just not want to talk to her again. I will just feel like, what is going on? Why are you tossing me to and fro? And she will act like she didn't do anything. That was the funny thing, and it was really getting to me. And the only thing was, despite how hard it was to get close to her, I never took offense. It wasn't. I never had any reason to give up. I don't know. The harder she made it for me, the more I wanted to just have her as a part of my life, and that alone, let me say, more than a very big conviction for me, because it's not every day you meet someone who would actually give you so much distance, so much difficulty, and you still want to be with them. She's a very nice person. She's humble. I love her personality a lot. I have always loved her personality. She was one of the reasons why I would even want to just come to church every Sunday. I was always excited, like, wow, yeah, I would see Abiola in church today. I want to situate myself, position myself in a place where I know that, okay, yes, she's going to pass by. I just,
Because I was
even
an usher.
if exactly, even if she doesn't say hello to me, I want to let her know that I'm looking at you and I won't give up, and that's just it.
Come on. Yeah.
She gave me every reason to believe that all this was just the main thing. I thank God for the strength that He gave me to overlook all those times when it seemed like she wasn't just the one. Like, no, it wasn't forthcoming. I had reasons to be discouraged, but somehow, when you meet the one, there is no doubt. That's just it.
So many reasons. Number one, they do not adequately prepare for marriage. Many of them, they have some woolly ideas about marriage. They feel that living together with a partner is an Eldorado. They look at it as fun, having a sex partner, having a partner that you can frolic around with, that you can go to movies, you can eat whatever you like, you can just do anything that you like on daily basis. Whereas marriage is more than that. It's a more complex thing. That's number one. Number two, in the choice of partner, they feel that because they are from the same environment, because they went to the same school or secondary school, because they like themselves on foresight, that person is appropriate individual. But it's more than that. One needs guidance from God to direct one to appropriate partner, because living together is not a cheesecake. It requires a lot of challenges and issues. So the choice of partner is a big one. And then some other issues. They believe that love is the principal thing when it comes to marriage. Love is a strong factor, but it's not sufficient to hold a marital relationship. In all, about 4 pillars carry a marital relationship. It's just like a table that has 4 legs. And one of such pillars is love. The other ones are understanding, trust, and respect. Each of these legs must be in equal proportion, and they must be there. Love alone cannot carry a relationship. All the other pillars has to be available. Then, the background of individual partner equally play a lot of role in the success or failure of a marriage. And most young people, they don't know much about the background of their partner. They just feel that, well, I don't care which tribe is coming from, I don't care which region, as long as we love one another is enough. But in the face of challenges that come from our background, love will take flight and run away because it's not sufficiently strong to handle it. So there are quite a number of factors that make the younger generation. And not all of them fail, but majority, they stagger. And to regain balance becomes very difficult for them.
Intertribal marriage. We've not even started dating, people asking me about marriage. Well, I'm actually a product of an intertribal marriage. My dad's my dad is from Anambra State and my mom is from Edo State. And as children growing up, we saw how intertribal marriage sort of helped in creating bonds and also causing some form of separation. And where that comes from is language barrier. My dad doesn't understand my mom's language. So, there's always this feeling of, when she's speaking in her language, is she talking about me? Is she talking about something? But guess what? My mom, as a sharp Edo woman, she learnt Igbo language. So, when we have all those Igbo gatherings and my aunties are talking and she's just there listening to everything. And the next thing, she'll just speak Igbo. And they're like, eh? You understand this language? So it helps to learn other cultural beliefs and also adapt to their cultural beliefs, languages, food. My dad does not like to explore foods. He just likes that is oha soup and onubu soup. But we, on the other hand, we get to experience the Igbo food, the Edo cuisines, and all of that. So I feel it helps to increase bonding and unity among the children and the couple involved, because I enjoy the culture of Igbo people and Edo people. So I'm just happy that I get to experience these two cultures. So I feel it's a good thing and it's something I'm open to.
Of course, people generally want to say, okay, love, communications, but from some of the book I read that are research-based, there is a book that I read that listed about 10 factors for a long-lasting marriage. And surprisingly, the first factor they listed, they poll so many married people of different ages, and they came up with about 10. The number one factor they listed is commitment, that if the two partners are committed to the marital relationship, the marriage will last. Because every other factor, apart from commitment, can cave in and might not stand. So commitment is one, communication is another one, love is another one, openness is another one, trustworthiness is another one, understanding is another one. But the primary one is commitment. Are you committed to the union? Is your partner committed as you are committed? If the two of you are not as committed, all the other factors, no matter how strong they are, they may not be able to carry the marriage to a successful way. When you say these days, I'm thinking in terms of the time we are living, 2020. So one major common thing is finance. Is a big issue. The challenge of what to eat, where to live, what to wear, what to ride is a big issue. Big issue. These days, the challenge becomes more aggravating because of the environment. The economy is bad, people don't have job, and many people do not have vocation. They don't have what they can do. They're only looking for white-collar job, and where they don't have it, they fall back on something they are not prepared for. Some of them want to trade, they want to go into business, they want to be an entrepreneur, but they are not prepared for it, so they don't have skill. So many of them have to do some manual job, like teaching in primary school or in private secondary school, where the pays are very poor. So finance reflects in so many areas. It reflects in the kind of house that you live in. So you find most couples living in maybe face me, I face you, where they share toilets, share so many things that create problem for them. And then equally, your finance determines the quantity or quality of food that you eat. And you find that many pregnant women, they don't have money to go to hospitals to eat according to prescriptions by the medical doctors. They cannot take care of themselves appropriately. So, and this affects the ability to carry their pregnancy even to term or to deliver healthy babies. They can't buy drugs, they can't visit hospital as regularly as they should, and they don't equally start antenatal on time until very much late because of finance. What to wear is part of it. There are so many factors that are linked to the issue of finance, which is a primary factor. Then understanding between the husband and wife, management of conflict is a problem. There are many young people that don't know how to resolve conflict. Instead of conflict resolution, they approach it from conflict management, where most of the time they sweep some things under the carpet. And when you sweep a problem under the carpet, it multiplies and develop into resentment. And when resentment is fully grown, it blossoms into quarrel and fighting that might be physical. And of course, some people, if they can't control their emotion, they can injure one another physically. The marriage can become dangerous, and the life of individual partner can be in danger, which in some cases leads to some parents of individual member of the partnership, especially parents of the female member, might say, rather than allow our daughter to die, let's pull her out of this relationship. So quite a number of factors are there. There is spiritual factor. If you don't know God and you don't know how to invite him into your marriage, there can be problem. It can be a problem. If you don't know how to pray, it can be a problem. If you don't know how to fast and how to read your Bible, it can be a problem. So there are quite a number of factors.
Initially, when we when the marriage actually started like afresh, I came into the marriage with this mentality that, when there is an argument, instead of sitting and being close to her and trying to resolve it, it's better to just run away. I'm not the kind of person who really has the mind and the heart for arguments or talking too much. So I would usually just disappear then into my space, and eventually when I get back, I will realize that there are so many things that I have to start talking about, which I could easily have just stayed back to resolve on the spot. I learned one thing from her. No matter what it is, when you both have raised your voice at each other or said whatever it is that you want to say, just take a minute to just be silent, and then I don't know.
And don't work out.
Yeah, don't work out. I used to be a fan of working out, but she corrected me on a lot of things. So now, what we do is, the moment I even suspect that there is going to be an argument, or we know that an argument might happen from a certain conversation, we start talking away from it. We start trying to change the topic. That is just the thing, because
it's not like we change the topic, because you can't keep sweeping it under the carpet. It can create a form of resentment if you're not careful. We talk about it, but sometimes, speaking for myself now, when we have an argument, right? Because my husband, he's a very cool person, but trust me, it's a tough one. Here is how would I put it now? I don't want to use the word anger thing, but the thing is, I learned something. You can't always make your point when you are both raising your voices. So I learned it wasn't easy for me, but I learned to always keep quiet when he's trying to also make his point, so that when everything had died down, there's this what's the word?
maybe tranquility.
yes, tranquility, I can now, make my point, tell him why I was upset, why he did it, why I did like I can say everything I want to, and truthfully, is ready to listen at that moment. So I've learned that someone just have to be a listener. We can't both raise our voice, and So that was it, and I learned this from my dad. You can't always be right, first of all, and you can't always make your point when the heat is there. Someone has to be cold. I learned that since he was not going to step down, I had to do that. And that does not make him bad. That is just his weakness. So I made that my strength to always keep calm when we are having such.
Personally, I would say marriage it should be a personal thing for an individual. I mean, you should desire to be with someone just the same way they desire to be with you. I don't believe that there should be a form of interference or a third party thing at play. It should be a decision between two people. Let two people find themselves, just the way the Bible says. It says, "He that findeth a wife findeth a good thing." The Bible did not say, "He that they findeth a wife for." So a man should follow his heart, a woman should follow her heart, not someone or some persons bringing two people together. The question is, sometimes you ask yourself, what if they go into the arranged marriage and they don't grow in love? What if they grow apart? What if they eventually have issues stemming from not being able to confirm their feelings for each other before going into it? So I don't subscribe to it at all. Personally, marriage should not be something you arrange. It should be something you discover. You discover each other and you take the bull by the horns.
Yeah. I was going to say that, like, I don't believe the saying that you grow in love when you get married to the person. I don't think it's a big risk anybody should try. What if you never fall in love with the person? What do? Do you leave the marriage and start again? So, for me, personally, arranged marriage is a no. Like you said, discover it yourself.
When they use the word interference, we have to define it appropriately. There are some instances where parents are overbearing. Either the mother wanting to take control of his son and what happened in the son's house, or where the lady cannot do anything without consulting her mother. So instances where there is overbearing interference from parents can be dangerous. But there are times when parents supplying counsel, advice, helping people to manage conflicts or resolve conflict can be beneficial. So it depends on from which angle. I do not support overbearing parents or parents that want to be in the day-to-day running of the home of their children. I believe every parent should steer clear and allow their children to grow. They will run into some challenges, into some conflict situations, but they should just allow them to find their way out of it. After all, parents themselves, when they got married, they were left alone. And by God's grace, they have become who they are today by trying out so many methods, by getting to understand one another better. And they have been able to come out of their challenge stronger. And they are still moving on. So we should allow our children to grow in their marriage or in their relationship, marital relationship, and allow them to experience all the challenges that marriage can bring. It is out of those experiences that they will grow and become stronger. And they will learn a lot of lessons that they will transfer to their parents. I do not believe and I do not subscribe to parents wanting to be part of the home of their children. I don't subscribe to that. I believe they should leave them, and except when it's becoming too much or they cannot handle it. And then I equally prefer initially that they can refer them to neutral counselor rather than become counselor in their children's relationship. Because one way or the other, if it is the parent of the wife that is coming in, the husband may not likely trust them completely, that they will side with their daughter. And if it's man, ditto, they will equally think that way. So I prefer parents to seek outside counselor to help them manage a difficult situation in the marital life of their children, rather than they themselves coming in to forcefully take over at times. And mothers and fathers have to be very careful that once they release their children to marriage, they should release them with the whole of their heart and pray for them in the background and see how they find their way out of their challenge.
Well, for me, love is a necessity, but then again, it is not enough because, like you said, how we met, we were friends first. So, and while we were being friends, we discovered we loved each other. So, love is a necessity for me because I can't imagine living with someone I don't love or being in the same space with someone I don't love. Like they say, like people always say, I married my best friend. Yes, I married because it's easier when you marry your friend than a lover because I feel a lover makes it too official and it's kind of cliche. But when you're with your friend, it means you're comfortable with this person more than because I've seen people who are in love, but I don't see the friendship there. But for us, it's friendship and love. So love is necessity for me, if I must say.
For me, love is very important because without it, I believe there's going to be chaos. How do you stick together in bad times? Marriage is not a perfect straight line. There will always be bumps in the way, and love is what will keep the two of you together when times are hard, when things are not the way they ought to be. So the longevity of marriage as a whole, starting from the very first day, when you promise someone forever, trust me, you are saying it out of a place of love, because when you hear marriages fall apart today, I can say one thing for sure: love was one of the items that left the marriage. Else, people won't just wake up one day and throw their vows out of the window. So yes, we need it, a lot of it. In fact, it is never enough in marriage. You keep asking God for more of it. How to love your spouse more than you should.
In a way, because God Himself, according to the Bible, initiated marriage. Marriage is an idea of God, and the one that said it's not good for man to be alone. He will make an helpmate for man. And when He made Eve, He Himself personally took Eve to Adam. So by that, He set a standard that all human beings will want to attain to. So if you get a good partner and you are married, it's a form of achievement because that leads to something. Marriage itself is not an end. It's a means to so many other ends. Continuity of the family name, fulfilling God's injunction to man that they should be fruitful, multiply, and replenish the earth. Where violence is endemic, and to save life, it can be the last option. Where violence, because there are so many reports. There is a report of a couple, a banker. The husband had been showing a lot of violence to the girl, to the lady, beat her up several times. And the parents were trying to manage it. One day, the man woke up and shot the lady 12 times, and the lady died. So where life is threatened and you cannot guarantee security of life, divorce might be the last option there, especially if you don't want to lose any life in the relationship. But ordinarily, it should not, because God said, I hate divorce. As a Christian, it should not be an option. And we should not program our mind in that direction, except where violence that cannot be resolved has manifested in such a way that life is endangered.
What's my spec? I know every girl will say tall, dark, and handsome, but hey, girl, I like the tall, dark guy. Clean beards, looking nice. Oh, kind. I admire a kind man. I don't know, it cannot be overemphasized. I cherish a kind man. You have to be kind. You have to be intentional. You have to care. It's very important. Even when you're angry, even when you're in your low point, you're still intentional. You care about your woman. Yeah, looks matter, but you see, kindness. I feel is something this generation lacks and really needs. We need more kind men. We need more intentional men. People that pay attention to little details. I mean, I know girls will always say, I want a man that is, but please, we want an intentional, I want an intentional man. I want a kind man. I want a good looking man. My own tall, dark, and handsome. Oh, okay. I just want a kind man. Yes.
One is transparency, is honesty, is generosity, is calmness. Yeah, he can be very calm. I loves me, is intentionality about me, and I think this will be physical. Love is physique, and most importantly, is the love for God.
First things first. My wife is she's a praying woman. She loves to pray a lot. In fact, I used to think I was a praying person when we were courting, but it switched entirely because I'll find her praying even times when I feel like she should be sleeping, and sometimes I'll be like, "What is it about?" Actually, there shouldn't be a problem before you pray. She doesn't joke with it at all. She's a prayerful person. She's a worshiper. She's very engrossed with the things of God. And number two, she's a great cook. Man,
Okay.
it's evident on my skin, obviously. Number three, she's a very very kind person. My wife is sacrificial to the letter. She can go all the way, even when it's not convenient. She's that person. Number four, she's how will I put it? She's the exact opposite of me, and I love that because she's a very social person. She's a social butterfly, and I am just this very calm person. So the fact that we balance each other out, perfect. Number five, my wife she's a dog lover like me because I used to wonder how we would cope if I marry somebody who doesn't want to see dogs around at all. I don't know, but eventually we will meet in the center. Number six, my wife is very very respectful. She respects me a lot. She knows that sometimes I can be a handful, especially days when I don't want to listen anymore and I just want to talk. She gives me that honor that I deserve. I love that about her. She respects me every single time. And number seven, my wife is a very smart person. She thinks very fast. She's not somebody who you will give a task and you will still be waiting on her to deliver. I can call her anywhere, any day, anytime and I tell her, please do this for us because I don't know how to go about it from where I am right now. And she gets it done. She's not somebody who can get caught on her ways. She doesn't give excuses or complain why she can't do things. So I love that about her. She's proactive. She's very
Okay, I think I'll give one. He gives the other one. We agree not to sleep over any issue. We must resolve it before we go to sleep. We're not carrying anything over. It wasn't my thing, but I had to learn that because of my husband, because he was never a fan of, you know, keeping grudges till the next day. So thankfully, I learned that for him, and it has been an easy thing for me. I've learned to save my mind before going to bed, and he apologizes, and we're still doing that.
except if it's meant to be a surprise. We don't do anything without consulting each other. I mean, anything, no matter how big, no matter how small, my wife is in the know. Just the way she also looks me in when she needs to do something. So I like the fact that we carry each other along every time. Nobody gets caught unawares. Yeah, it's always been our thing right from when we were in the courtship phase, and we are still doing it till now. First things first, know who you are. That's the thing. I used to ask myself a question. That was some years back. If I were the opposite sex of myself, would I marry myself? Am I good enough to be a partner to someone? Do I have the capacity to love and accept someone else other than myself. It's something I feel single people should ask themselves. Marriage is not something you go into with selfish interests. No, you have to go into it with the mindset of building, of developing, of trusting, and also having someone else gain your trust, because trust is earned. You have to be a trustworthy person. You have to be honest. If you possess all these qualities, it's not enough if you don't have God as 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 your anchor. Because no matter how much you say you are into someone, you still have to look at it from the spiritual point of view. You take it before God. As God created me, God also created her. So when it comes to you spending the rest of your life with someone, or even taking that first step of going into a relationship with someone, ask yourself, what exactly do I have to offer? How do I make this person a better person? And you should also look at the person as a part of you that will bring out the best in you. If not, just leave it. Develop yourself before you go into a relationship on every side.
Okay, I would like to add to that. To the singles out there, first of all, yeah, some say marriage is not an achievement. Honestly, it is. But I will put it this way: you won't find fulfillment there. Don't think that when you get married, that's when you find the fulfillment you're looking for. You have to be fulfilled on your own before getting to marriage, because you can't say is when you get married that you're going to achieve certain things. No, it doesn't work that way. And also, when you're thinking of looking at getting married, don't expect to see your partner or your family, your partner, maybe your parent or your brother, or whoever is you hold so dear to you. Don't expect, because this is you and your partner come together to create your own normal. So don't always expect them to to do certain things in a certain way. Marriage is a different ball game. You create your own normal, like I said earlier. And most importantly, this is something that has worked for me. I talked about making Jesus Christ the anchor of your home. You can't go into marriage without going in with Christ, because it's just like, as we all know, a ship stands strong. No matter the wind, the tide, it will always remain strong. It will always stand because there's an anchor. So you have to find your own anchor. But I will introduce to you that make Jesus Christ your anchor, because you can't do marriage without him. Marriage without God it's going to be a serious struggle. So, because honestly, to add this lastly, like, there are days when myself and my husband will have serious fight or argument, and somehow when I just go to God, it works like magic. In fact, sometimes I want to like call it juju. It's like my own juju. Like, instantly, there are some things I didn't have to do too much. I just go talk to God, and boom, everybody is back to their normal self, and that's it. So for me, Christ has made it a very easy ship to sail on. So make sure you make Jesus the anchor of your home.
Uh, Marriage is good, it's okay. It has a stabilizing factor, and it can help a man or a woman to achieve their potential, their purpose in life. Because God knows that a man alone cannot achieve the design purpose that God has given to every one of us. A man needs a woman to complete him. No matter how talented you are, you can't run the race of your life alone. And if you think you are self-sufficient, most men that they end up programming themselves into serious problems. Because when they can no longer cope with life alone, they begin to look around for some other woman. But God knew that the purpose for a man in life to be properly achieved, he need a partner. He need a woman. And from my experience of about 43 years, I believe that women, they are designed to help their husband where there's proper understanding. And I believe that a woman can give anything if she's satisfied in her marital relationship. If she can trust her husband, if she find peace, rest in the relationship, there's nothing she cannot. I'm not saying all women are perfect, but sizable number, large percentage of them they are trustworthy when it comes to marriage. There are some of them that may not be as loyal as one would have expected, but majority they are okay. And I believe men can achieve faster when they have a partner. So I advise the young one not to run away from marriage and not to look at some few marriages that have failed as a standard model that they should look at. They should identify marriages that have succeeded, not in terms of what they have, but in terms of the stability, in terms of ability to stay together, even through thick and thin, in terms of the way they have raised their children, in terms of challenging their summon, and in terms of the peace they have enjoyed in the midst of storm. Despite and in spite of everything, they are still staying together. They should look for such marriages and get nearer them and ask them, how? What are you doing? What is the reason for your survival and for stability of your marriage and for the joy and the peace that you are enjoying in the marriage? So marriage is okay, and I recommend it for everybody.
Is it 15 million? Not 50. Ha. Those are hope you won't run away. Buyers also. How are you specific now when you real estate? It's not business. Business is business. Yeah, but you just said, you listed what you want to do in the whole of. Everything is business. I'm going to start a business, invest and pay my tithes. That was what I wrote. A solid business. Which business is not solid? Every business is solid. Savings. True. So we can say that's the investment, yeah. Then some charity work. That's true. Even I forgot.
Investment, start a business for my wife, a business for myself.
Okay, so what did she write for you?
Start a business, investment, and a business for her.
She got it that from your own money.
But I can't start a business for you. You gotta look for your own money. Proposal. Gifts. Sex. Props.
Entertainment,
Gifts.
attraction.
And cell numbers 10.
Government. Wife.
I feel good. I mean, it's always a beautiful experience. I mean, it's second home for me. I always enjoy every moment spent in the Yemi Ajala studios.
I've always looked forward to a time when my wife and I will put on a hot seat like this because
We're just nearly 2 years.
when she told me about this coming up, she was like, wow.
I was panicking.
I need some expo. I'm like, no expo, and I will make sure we don't get any expo. Just let's come and have fun. And really, we did have a lot of fun.
I was caught on our web, but yeah, it was fun doing this with the Yemiajalastudios. Thank you for having me and the love of my life here.
It's a privilege, it's an honor, and I want to appreciate those who thought in their mind, feel that small me is the person that they should invite to sit on this set. I appreciate it, and I say thank you. May God bless you.